It's that time again. The annual conference of the American Society of Ag Consultants, otherwise known as ASAC, is going to be held in Fort Myers, Florida this November 4th and 5th. Kurt Covington is one of 9 professionals who will address the conference. The other speakers who will cover a wide range of topics represent Florida Farm Bureau, Florida Citrus Commission, University of Tennessee Institute of Agriculture, National Ag Law Center, Risk Mitigators and Advisors, Tyler Associates, as well as the lead economist for dairy at CoBank, and myself, Chrissy Wozniak from North American Ag. The day and a half of presentations will be followed by ag tours on Tuesday afternoon at Echo Farms, one of my favorite places here in Fort Myers. Attendees will experience farming at its most creative, with unique demonstrations, plants, and techniques being used to help farmers and urban gardeners in developing countries. A second tour at Echo will showcase simple technologies that can improve food, water, and shelter for millions of people. A third tour of a hydroponic grower is also being planned. For more information and to register, visit www.agconsultants.org. That's www.agconsultants.org. See you there. With 2,000 plus attendees, 25 plus robots, and 60 plus exhibitors, FIRA USA is the best place in the world for meeting agricultural and ag robotics leaders and seeing the latest technology demonstrations. This unique 3-day event is being held in Salinas, California, September 19th to the 21st, 2023. Check out their new website at FIRA-USA.com. That's FIRA, FIRA-USA.com. Get registered today. Welcome to North American Ag Spotlight. I'm Chrissy Wozniak. My guest today is a staunch advocate of the potential within each young person and their ability to tackle the challenges facing our world today. She's a 4th-generation 4-H'er and is now president and CEO at the National 4-H Council. Today, we're going to discuss a topic that she's going to be speaking on at the Women in Agribusiness Summit in Nashville at the end of the month, Ag to Gen Z. Ultimately, Gen Z's impact on agriculture and insights from their perspective. From Chevy Chase, Maryland, which I didn't even know existed until today, I would like to welcome Jill Bramble. Welcome, Jill, and thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you, Chrissy. It is such a pleasure to be here with you today and talking about such an important topic for the young people of our nation and certainly for the future.
Yes. So can you start off by telling me about yourself and your family's 4-H legacy?
Sure, be glad to. So as you said, I'm a 4th-generation 4-H'er. I grew up on the eastern shore of Maryland, which is a very rural community. My family has a dairy farm that was started by my grandfather and continues today with my cousin and his wife, who've completely renovated it, modernized it, put in robotic milkers, and have the highest sustainability practices, and really have transformed what has been a legacy business, dairy business, into one that is modern and meeting a lot of high standards for today. So I'm very proud of my rural background. When I grew up in my community, 4-H was the only youth serving organization, and I feel so blessed to have been impacted by many volunteers and mentors, and every single day I'm going to work to pay that impact back and ensure that all kids have the same opportunity that I did growing up in Maryland.
Oh, that's awesome. I love that. And as a 4th-generation 4-H'er, what are some of the most significant life-changing experiences you've had through the 4-H program?
Yeah, so as I think back, I did a variety of projects in 4-H, from the dairy project, public speaking, to cooking, sewing, community service projects. And each of those experiences really allowed me to find my spark, to try new things and see if I was interested and good at something, or if I was not so interested. So I absolutely loved all of the ag projects. I was a sewing failure. So you learn these things and you have the opportunity to follow your passions and what you want to pursue. And as I look back on those experiences, in addition to it being about finding your spark, it also is an opportunity to practice leadership and do that in real time. So in 4 H, we believe that young people are leaders today, not at some point into the future. And I think that's a really unique difference, that we value young people today. We don't feel that they need to go through school, go through college in order to then provide a value to our society. So in 4 H, in my projects, and this still happens today, not only are you learning new skills, but you are then expected to use those skills to make a difference in your community. And I think that's really important too. So it's not just about me and what I can acquire through 4 H, but it's how I use those skills to make my community a better place. So if I'm learning about foods and nutrition and where our food is grown, I then can look at my community and think about, how do I apply that in this community? Are there food deserts? Are there opportunities to connect people to where their food comes from? How can I take a leadership role? And this can be at 8, 10, 12 years old, in sharing that knowledge with my community. And I think that's so important today, just as it was when I was in 4 H. The project is a means to developing leadership and developing a commitment to your community and to making the world a better place.
Yeah, those are some excellent points. And I think at this time in history, probably those are more important now than ever, right? Especially this connection with the consumer. I think those are excellent points, and starting people young and understanding that difference, that there is a big divide there, and trying to close that gap was very honorable.
That's right. And, so much of what we're seeing today, after young people have navigated the last 3 or 4 really tumultuous years, young people are really yearning for a sense of purpose. They want hope for the future. And I'm really excited by research that we've gotten back about the 4 H program that not only shows that 4 Hers are more likely to pursue STEM careers, they're more likely to avoid risky behaviors and engage with their community, but they also have an extraordinary high sense of purpose and hope for the future, and they are deeply connected to their community. So when you think about reports that have come out on loneliness or mental health, I feel a huge responsibility to the young people in this country that we can provide a pathway where the future is really bright.
Yeah.
Engaging with 4 H, and we're in every single county or parish in this country. It's a wonderful network of cooperative extension, and it is providing young people a pathway to thriving.
Yeah, I love it. So tell me about your role at National 4-H Council.
Happy to. So I am the president and CEO of National 4-H Council, and National 4-H Council was actually formed by the cooperative extension system decades ago to really be the nonprofit partner to the vast network of cooperative extension that is delivered through our nation's land-grant universities. So at National 4-H Council, we have several unique roles, and we tell the story of 4-H and the 4-H brand and lift up the voices of young people across this country and the amazing work that they're doing. We provide the national level fundraising and partnerships with companies like Nationwide and Microsoft that are thinking about, what do young people need? How can they support growth of 4-H across this country? And then we provide a convening role. So 4-H is delivered from state to state, independent state programs. And at the national level, we convene that innovation and scale national priorities. And we've we've done that through after school programming. We've done that through science and a very large initiative around STEM, computer science, digital literacy. And we're thinking about that into the future around workforce development. So it is a unique role within a vast 4-H network where we work very closely with Cooperative Extension and USDA.
Wow. Wow. Yeah, there's a lot involved, isn't there?
There is.
Yeah.
There is. It's a network that truly is amazing. You know, when you think about the resource that the 4-H program is for this country, it has a connection into our U.S. Department of Agriculture. It is delivered by our nation's land grant universities. And it is located in every single county in this country with the priority of ensuring that young people find their spark and they have a pathway to a really strong future.
That's wonderful. And how has 4-H evolved over the years? What changes have been made to evolve to the needs of Gen Z?
Yeah, it's a great question and one that is on our minds and we are really focused too. So if you think about 4-H, it's a 120-year-old organization.
Wow.
And at the origin of 4-H, it was really created to be about technology transfer. So at the time, researchers were developing new technologies in agriculture. This is the early 1900s when they're working on pre-germinated corn seed. And the university researchers could not get the adult farmers to adopt the new technology. They were afraid of the change. The innovation was a little too out there, and they were nervous about it. But young people did use it and they were interested in the technology. And so through 4-H clubs, 4-Hers began utilizing new technology and through their projects began to plant that pre-germinated corn seed, just in this example. And they ended up growing 10 times what the adult farmers were growing in their community.
Wow.
And that made the adults take note of maybe we shouldn't be so skeptical. We could try it, we could learn about it. And young people were part of leading that technology transfer. So at the time, agriculture, of course, was the primary industry. But if we fast forward to today, that essence of young people taking a leadership role in their community still exists today. So we have a program called Tech Changemakers, where young people are teaching digital literacy to adults in their community so that they can understand how to utilize the internet in a safe way, how to apply for a job online, how to shop and make sure you're not susceptible to dangerous sites or being hacked online. Young people are teaching adults this, so you still see that today. And certainly that sparks an interest in a Gen Z 4-Her who is a digital native and wants to learn about coding and computer science and AI. So it really is a win-win. It is allowing young people to explore new technologies, but then also expecting of them to apply that to their community and kind of tackling the big issues that our community faces.
Amazing. That is remarkable. And how does 4-H collaborate with, as you said, the Cooperative Extension System and USDA to serve young people? So how is it broken out and how does the information flow out?
Yeah.
In a more technical way, I guess.
Great question. So our nation's land grant universities deliver the 4-H program, and that happens in every state and in every county. And what is so wonderful about 4-H is it is very grassroots. So the 4-H program in Florida may look different than the 4-H program in New York. And a lot of that is based on the expertise of the university, the expertise of those cooperative extension leaders and 4-H educators at the local level, and they are responding to very local needs. So the needs of 4-H in Manhattan, New York, may look very different than the needs of 4-Hers in Manhattan, Kansas. Right. And the beauty of the 4-H program is it can respond locally, very different than a program that the agenda is developed at the national level and it is pushed down in a very unified way down to the county level. We do have a number of national initiatives that National 4-H Council and Extension have worked together to scale for all 50 states, but that it still allows a way to plug in what is relevant for your community. So I mentioned a STEM initiative that we launched a number of years ago, and it was to inspire more young people to pursue STEM-related careers. And but we did not force it, and we did not say this is the only STEM. What we did was we created a model where we could develop new curriculum, we could develop training alongside of extension, and then locally, if the STEM that you wanted to pursue was ag technology or food science or robotics or AI, any of the range, there was the freedom to do that. So I think both the grassroots and also kind of the national infrastructure and framework allows for a sustainable program that can really spark that individual interest of young people.
Right. And what it really makes me think of, I work with a lot of manufacturers. And if you think about it, the most successful companies really have the same framework. And these manufacturers should probably look to 4-H on how to have that main message and then bring it out to those distributors in the communities to serve what is needed in those communities. So that's interesting. Maybe you should do some 4-H training in business, right?
Oh my goodness. Well, we're trying to think about how do we provide the talent pipeline for those businesses. And I know that is on the minds too, right? As VOTech has kind of been reduced in the school system, how can we encourage young people? It's not just about pursuing one pathway to college, right? We want to make sure that young people see all of the pathways that are possible, whether it's directly into a career and through credentialing and some trade-based careers, or if it's through a 2-year college or a 4-year college. We want young people to know there are many pathways that they can pursue, and our country needs, right, to have an experienced talent pipeline to draw from.
Yeah, I love that. And there are, I did a little bit of research beforehand. There are nearly 6 million young people across the U.S. involved. What continues to draw these kids year after year? It's amazing to me that there's that many kids involved.
I know. Chrissy, we are the largest youth development organization in this country.
Wow.
And many people don't know that, but I think part of that is the infrastructure. Right. So being in every county and being connected to that land grant university system is such an asset for young people that is down to their county level. So I think the accessibility is really important. We are thinking through how do we couple the accessibility of the in-person program at the local area with an e-learning platform that we are developing at National 4-H Council called Clover that can be a complement to that. So regardless of where you live, you can access either in-person or a hybrid version that complements that in-person. And that is the collection of all of Cooperative Extension's high quality content and experiences that we have put into a format that's relevant for Gen Z.
Wonderful. Do you have any examples of success stories or inspiring moments from your time at the National 4-H Council?
Oh, I do. The first one that comes to mind for me is a 4-H program in West Virginia, and a young 4-Her named Eli who had grown up in 4-H, and he did a variety of ag projects. And he was on a hog farm. And so that was his primary project, that he showed swine at the local fair. And when asked about what he wanted to do in the future, his comment was, I probably will just stay here and work on the farm. And that is fantastic. We need more young people who want to stay in rural America and
Yes.
support agriculture. But what he was really interested in was robotics and computer science. And his comment was, I love that, but I need to stay here. And what he did not realize was that he could combine the two and bring that technology to his farm. So through computer science programs that we scaled nationally, he was able to begin to do coding and do computer science projects. And in his work, kind of thinking about, how do I tackle issues here on the farm or in my community, he began to think about how to use computer science in his local community. And it just really took off and lit that spark for Eli. And he began to train others in his community. He began to make kind of coding seem less of a barrier to people. And now he still wants to stay in his rural community, but he wants to infuse that technology and work in computer science and agriculture. And that is such a need. So anytime we can spark that kind of interest and help strengthen our rural communities and keep our talent working in agriculture, I think that's a huge success.
Definitely. Oh, that's very inspiring. And you've had a significant role in fundraising and partnerships throughout your career, not just here at 4-H, but in the past too. So, can you share some insights on how you've cultivated support for 4-H programs?
Yeah, I'd love to. So, in my mind, Chrissy, fundraising allows more young people to be reached. The more resources we can bring into the 4-H program, the more young people have access to our mission. So, that's what I love about development work. And what has been most rewarding is working with investors, whether it's an individual philanthropist or it's a corporation, and really thinking about what is their interest, what change are they trying to make, or what need do they have that 4-H might be able to help with. And so we've done that over the years, whether it is, needing more young people to pursue STEM. So there's a diverse talent pipeline. I think of companies like Lockheed Martin, who really need US scientists and engineers to be able to fill their talent pipeline. And so we worked with Lockheed to build out robotics programs that also engaged their employees. So they were mentors, but we were inspiring young people to pursue engineering. So it's really looking for that win-win partnership. And we've done that in many ways, whether it's with companies that are focused to rural America or companies that want to inspire and make sure that kids in urban America have a pathway to success. The beauty is that we're located everywhere and that we can align with those interests.
Oh yeah, that is amazing. And as a mom, just changing gears a little bit, as a mom, you have two Gen Zers. How do you see the world differently than from how you were raised and in their shoes?
Yeah, it's a great question. So it is very different for them. So as I think of my two Gen Z children, they're navigating a world for them that feels uncertain.
Mhm.
And there's political polarization, there's concerns around social justice. The economy feels uncertain to them. They've never been through a period where the economy is down and you have hope it's going to come back. They haven't had that. So as they are entering their careers, they're not sure how they will have the resources to buy a home at some point. They're not sure necessarily how to navigate such a polarizing world. So I think their challenges are different. Um, but at the core, I'm blessed that they were both engaged in 4-H and they have a resilience that they have gained through having high quality mentors
Yeah.
uh, that will carry them forward. But it still doesn't totally eliminate the uncertainties that they feel. At the same time, not just my kids, but Gen Z more broadly, um, has this incredible sense of purpose. They really do want to have an impact on this world. They're not always sure how to do it, but they have a sense of purpose. They also want to explore. They want to have experiences that maybe when I was growing up and our world was, in our local community or in our state, they have a much more global view.
That's true.
And
Yeah.
so I think they have tremendous assets. As I think my own kids, they were kind of born at 9/11 and kind of came of age during a pandemic.
Right.
And as I think about the greatest generation, they were born in the Depression, came of age in World War II. And those bookends of really influential events in our nation's history have a profound impact on their generation. And I believe if we can provide the right supports for Gen Z, the right opportunities, they have the potential to be the next greatest generation. They've overcome a lot of adversity. I wouldn't say they're totally through it yet, but we have an incredible opportunity if we invest in this generation and give them hope for the future.
Yeah. And it's great to remind ourselves of that these youth have really been through a lot from 9/11 and
Yeah.
up to the last few years. And that's something, it's easy for as you get older to say, oh, kids have it so easy these days. Right. So
It's
I think that's important for us to remember.
And their world is so connected. If we also think about, they don't know life without a cell phone.
Yeah.
It is part of who they are, and ordering things online and having it being delivered right away. Like their expectations because of being a digital native is very different too. So I think it's a balance, and I believe every generation has dealt with their own sense of challenges, and it's the onus is on us as youth development organizations to make sure that we're responding to the needs of this generation.
Right. Yeah, great points. Something that I've noticed, and I guess I'm a little bit more sensitive to it because my daughter is now just started her senior year in high school. But as kids who are in 4-H, they live for the next event, the next project, the next show.
Yeah.
And once they hit that last year, they are starting to feel lost. My daughter's friends a little bit lost that they're going to outgrow the club soon. Where do you recommend that they go after they graduate out of 4-H and they already have board experience? They already have so much to give, but they just need some direction. So what do you recommend?
Yeah, it's a great point, Chrissy. And we often find there's almost this sense of mourning when you age out of 4-H at 18 because it has been a part of you. It's your sense of belonging for so many years. And that's one of the things that we're thinking about at the national level. One of the opportunities that we see with this platform called Clover is to provide that connection beyond their local program. There are a number of our land grant independent universities that have a collegiate 4-H program. So whether she stays in her home state when she goes to college or she goes to another state, I would definitely encourage her to look for the collegiate 4-H program on campus.
Excellent.
To connect with other 4-Hers. I would also encourage her to get involved in her community, whether it's the community she grew up with or another community. Really continue that service learning, that mindset. We still today at National 4-H Council, we have a board that is primarily corporate and philanthropists that are on this board, but we also have a young person that serves on our board because we believe that they are leaders today and they represent a young alumni advisory committee. So there are some opportunities at the national level that I would also encourage her to pursue where she can continue to be engaged as a 4-H alum and continue to either give back to the program or benefit personally from remaining connected with 4-H.
Oh, those are some great options. Thank you.
Sure.
And then more on a personal note, how do you balance your role with the 4-H Council, with your family life? What lessons have you learned along the way? For all moms, balance is important and impossible. So what's your strategy?
True. So I think number one, us moms need to let go of the word balance because it is impossible to balance, right? I think it's more about work-life integration than finding that perfect balance. When I started at National 4-H Council, my kids were 3 and 5 years old. And I was actually the first telecommuter at the organization. And now as we fast forward and so many people are having the option of remote work, I feel very blessed that at the time, Don Floyd, who was our CEO, really valued the ability of me to be a mom and to contribute at the workplace too. So I was very fortunate to have his mentorship and recognition of that very early in my career. And I felt that responsibility to maintain that for the moms and dads who work for us or aunts and uncles and want to be and need to be engaged in their young people's lives. I feel deeply that as a positive youth development organization, if we're not able to provide that in our own homes, we certainly can't offer it as an organization. So it's so important to me. And I think, I feel blessed to work for a youth organization where young people can come into our office. Our parents can engage in the local 4-H community and look for ways for that to be integrated. But it's never perfect. And sometimes it's too much on the work side. And sometimes you need to focus on your family. And that's okay. And I think we just need to support each other as moms and dads in that work.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more, especially about the impossibility of balance. It's more like hopping. Which leg are you hopping on?
Right.
Sometimes it feels like that.
You're right.
So how can parents and communities get involved or support 4-H programs in their local areas, especially parents that don't know where to go?
Yeah. The easiest way is to go to 4h.org, and that is our website. And from there, you can find 4-H in your local community. There's an option to click, and it will take you right to the local 4-H program. 4-H looks different community to community, so it's not a one-size-fits all, but that's the best way to go. I'd also encourage parents to look at Clover. If you go to 4h.org, you will find and can explore Clover and see all of the resources that are available to parents. You can sign up for a parent account that gives access to lots of different hands-on activities and engagements for their young people, and that can complement that in-person program as well. So 2 ways to find local and also explore Clover, which can be a complement to the local.
Perfect. Awesome. Now, one last question for you.
Sure.
Why do you continue to serve the industry? What are you most passionate about? What did God put you here for?
Yeah. Oh, Chrissy, I think our young people hold incredible potential. And I believe that every single young person has the ability to thrive, and that by giving the right support systems, they can find a pathway. So I have a deep commitment to our country. I think our country needs more 4-Hers. They need young people who want to engage with their community and are strong leaders. And I wake up every single day thinking about how we can invest in our nation's young people for the future of this country.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree with you more. Well, thank you so much for joining me today, Jill.
Thank you, Chrissy. I appreciate all the work you're doing for agriculture. Keep up the good work.
Thank you. And thanks to all who are watching or listening. If you want to learn more, the links will be provided in the show notes. Don't forget to subscribe to North American Ag Spotlight on YouTube, Rumble, or Telegram channels. And the podcast is available on Spotify, Apple, Amazon, Listen Notes, or wherever you listen to podcasts. And if you liked the episode, I would love it if you shared it. Have a great day. Did you know that at NorthAmericanAg.com, we are committed to providing valuable resources for farms and agribusiness? Find your next podcast in the Best of Ag podcast library, delve into our on-demand webinar series, check out the latest in ag news, or treat yourself to a new hoodie or tee from our swag shop. Head over to our subscribe page to join our community and be the first to know about what's happening in the industry. North American Ag provides daily ag news and weekly podcasts covering ag tech, ag policy, new products, family, and faith. North American Ag gives farm families and ag professionals insight into what's happening in agriculture throughout North America. Ditch the mainstream media. Join North American Ag.